So the last time I was sharing from this book, which talked about the reasons we homeschool. And when I ended, I was talking about this mind map I had done to kind of explain to myself, what we were doing, just kind of reflecting about it. And I came to believe that it was about discipleship. And the mandate for me is found in Deuteronomy 6 and Psalm 78. And so the other thing that happened was someone had asked me to do a workshop related to homeschooling because there were some ladies who were interested. And I lost my original mind map and had to do it all over again. And this is what I came up with. This was one of my favorite quotes. Education is not the filling of a bucket, but the lighting of a fire. And it's been attributed to a variety of individuals. And so you'll see that this one looks different. One thing is like in the middle of this one, it's, Wincham Academy of Talented Children. And it's the school. And this is like the academics, but there's some God in there. This time, this looks like a home. And so it's the mandates, Deuteronomy 6, Psalm 78, teaching truth. So we're talking about creation, the sovereignty of God and holiness, excellence. And that's where the academics comes in because we are called to be excellent, not perfect, but excellent. Socialization, what does that mean? What does that look like? So we talk about respect, love, and that is intergenerational. Discipleship, so training in character, service, and sibling time. Life skills, so it's indoors, outdoors, finances, and then I'm to teach according to their bents, the way that God has created them. So not straightening them into my image of what I think they ought to be. And that was, and protecting them from others that would try to do the same because they're all, preacher's kids. And so, if you're a preacher kid, you're a goody, or preacher's kids are the worst ones, or which one of y'all is going to preach, blah, 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 that kind of thing. But really observing them, spending time with them, and providing opportunities for them to try different things, and then to nurture those things which stuck, and then, wow, that there is love, there is fun, and there is laughter. And so if I look down from time to time, it's to keep me on track because it's not necessarily about forgetting anything. But I told my kids about the difference between linear thinking and web thinking. And supposedly my generation is the beginning of the ones that think on the web. And for my husband, his is the end of the generation that thinks linearly. So that's a lot of fun. But when I told my kids about it, then when he asked me something and I was like, da, 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 and I'm just going on and on and on. He started going, Spider-Man shooting the web. I was like, yeah, okay. Couldn't get mad at him because he was right. So what is discipleship? To disciple means to teach, to train, or to bring up. That's from Webster's 1828 dictionary. It's one I use most often because, like when I'm doing word studies, I might start there because the words are closer in meaning to when the King James was written. All right, so Deuteronomy 6, that's what, I was trying to find the verses, but really it's the whole thing. But I'm just going to look at 4 through 9. Listen, Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. These words I'm giving you are to be in your heart. Repeat them to your children. Talk about them when you sit in your house and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand and let them be a symbol on your forehead. Write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates. And so what I see there is it says for us to do that first. These words and the love and loving God with everything that we have should be in our heart. And then we repeat that to our children. So, it's a discipleship thing that they are following what we're doing. And here's the truth about it. You disciple your children anyway. It's just, what are you discipling them in? And that's one of the reasons we get upset with our kids sometimes, is because they choose to follow the things in us that we're not really happy with. And so then we get unhappy with them. Okay. The other is Psalm 78. My people, hear my instruction, listen to what I say. I will declare wise sayings. I will speak mysteries from the past, things we have heard and known and that our fathers have passed down to us. We must not hide them from their children, but must tell a future generation of the praises of the Lord, his might, and the wonderful works that he performed. He established a testimony in Jacob and set up law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers to teach their children, so that a future generation, children yet to be born, might know. They were to rise and tell their children, so that they might put their confidence in God and not forget God's good works, but keep his commands. So in education, we call that a trainer of trainer programs, where you are teaching someone how to teach the content that you're providing. And so we are to teach our children about God and the wonderful things that he has done. So and live it before them in a manner that they teach their children as well. And so, I was looking at this a long time ago, and then I have pictures of my son when his wife was pregnant with their oldest. He would read from a devotional every night. Or every morning, but every day. And there was one for kingdom men, so he's reading to his son in utero. And then he finished it on the day that he was born. So during that golden hour when they are, are bonding and everything as a family, then he was reading that to his son. And there are pictures now of him going through it again with that oldest son and with the baby. And so it's just really cool. He is, for me, when I'm teaching him, I was, it's for a generation that I did not know at that time, and have been blessed to meet a couple that. So we have the responsibility of teaching our children or providing the education, regardless of what you choose to do. You're responsible for the choice that you make. And so it could be private school, it could be public school, it could be charter school, it could be homeschooling. Whatever you choose, then there's a responsibility to go with that. I did not know anything about homeschooling when I was growing up. I always thought I was going to be that homeschool parent. That homeroom parent. That's what my mom was. She was at R.L. Thornton all the time in elementary school. And so I was a child that wasn't going to act up anyway, but really wasn't going to, because there's no telling when my mom might show up in the room. She was with the PTA, later the president of the PTA. And the way that she took responsibility for that, our education, she, started us out in summers. And then during the summer, we would have, a homeschooling program that was put together with her and my best friend's mom. And so during the summer, we would go swimming every morning, and then they took turns picking us up. And so on Mondays and Wednesdays, we would have biology with Ms. Robinson. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, we'd have English language arts and crafts with my mom. And then some days they were together. But as a mom, man, I see the wisdom in that now, because you have 2 days a week when you know that you'll be able to get something done. And yet you trust the individual that your children are with, and it's not an extensive outlay of money. And but I remember when I first got to R.L. Thornton, well, I don't remember, I just know she told me this. She asked the principal, was an A at my school the same as an A in North Dallas? Because she wasn't playing that. Don't just give me a grade. I had to earn the grade. And he assured her that it was. And later, there was a teacher who put 100 on my paper, my math paper, but I had missed every single problem that dealt with borrowing and subtraction. And my mom had a meeting with her and said, look, don't just give Diana a 100 and she didn't earn it. She's missing the same thing every time. Teach her how to do that right. And then she'll earn the 100, and so she took responsibility for our learning. She was up there. Oh, don't let someone, I remember in high school, teacher sent home a list of like 78 rules related to the class. And if you have any problems with any of these rules, then give me a call. And my mama called her. She's like, I have a problem with number 13, 25, and 64. And she's like, well, no one has ever called me before. She said, no one has probably read it. There are too many rules on here. She's like, I teach in the district. I know you can't do number 25, So she took responsibility for not for us doing the learning, but the learning that was provided to us. And I realized that I was not just preparing my children to thrive, but to teach them how to teach the next generation, to teach the generation that follows. And, the crazy thing is when I taught in the classroom, people will ask me, what do you teach? And they're expecting me to say life science, biology, which is what I did when I first started teaching. But at some point I started answering, I teach middle school students. And I teach them, I teach middle school students through life science or through biology, that it was about the children first. And so for me, homeschooling was about discipleship. And so the next time, I'm not sure, because on one hand, I have, something that talks about all the kids. And it's so crazy to see what I wrote then and where they are now and how close it came. So thanks for tuning in.